Alright, here we go. We're gonna call this public hearing to order, May 12th, 6:30. Just move right into it. Number 2 being the public hearing, consider of a replat for property ID 75398 located at Highway 276, West Tawakoni, Texas. Legal description A0533, Judge Joan T. Track 9-1, Acreage 1, Zone Commercial C, owned by Conan LLC. Do we have anybody here to talk about it?
I'm Jimmy Clack. I'm the general manager of Conan Co.
Okay.
I'm here. If you have any questions, we've asked for the replat because the front of the property we consider retail, more of a retail side. The back has always been storage, and I'm going to use it for that for my business. That's the part that I've fenced in.
Okay. Council, do we have any questions for them?
So you're going to sell the front of the property?
The front, I have a contract on the front right now to a man who sells cars. I don't know if that'll go through or not. It looks like it will not go. But even if it doesn't, and even if I kept it, I would want to do something where it's retail on the front on the 276 front.
How much is that? How deep is that lot?
It's 250 about 410.
410 going north to south.
276.
410 frontage and 410,
And
276
250
frontage.
back where my fence.
And 210 going back to your fence.
Yes,
Okay.
250.
250. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I didn't get to see that. Too big.
Council, any other questions?
Yeah.
Any other input? If there's no other input, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. All right, we're gonna call this regular session of the City of West Tawakoni City Council meeting to order, May 12th, 7 p.m. We'll start with an invocation followed by a pledge of allegiance. Ramsey, if you'd lead us, please.
Father, thank you for the opportunity to come serve our community. We ask that you grant us wisdom and clarity when we consider the matter before us tonight. And help us do what's right and act with integrity and make decisions to serve the good of the citizens. Watch over our city and those who live here. In your name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on to number 4, announcements. Council, city staff, do we have any announcements?
Yes, several. Go first.
I said, I gave mine away, great.
Okay, couple things. Keep West Walking Beautiful Cleanup is this Saturday at 7 a.m. at the dump. So it's from 7 a.m. until noon. It will stop promptly at noon or when the dumpsters are full. Then also this Saturday is the Hunt County Tire Roundup. So if you've got old tires or junk tires, it's at the Hunt County Fairgrounds, which is located at 9800 Jack Finney Boulevard, and that's from 8 a.m. until noon. And then one other quick thing, I just wanted to give a shout out to the city itself and to the Lake Tawakoni Regional Chamber of Commerce. The Catfish Festival was a huge success this weekend. There were tons of volunteers. The Spark Fan Club went out and did quite a bit of Spark donations, and they actually raised, they sold several tables for $3,475 and took in a total of $1,242 in donations. That includes parking, which the city helped us get, which was parking donations. A bunch of city staff there, as well as the entire Catfish Festival. It was quite an event. So if you didn't get out there, you need to make sure you come out next year. But congrats to the Chamber of Commerce for a great event at our park. That's all I have.
Any other announcements?
I'll just inform council, I know it's already posted that we're going to do a special Monday evening one budget amendment to cover the expenses for July 3rd celebrations.
This coming Monday?
This coming Monday evening.
What time?
6:30.
6:30. No other announcements? Okay, we'll go ahead and move on from there. Number 5, citizens input related to agenda items, 3-minute time limit. I've got one from Miss Debbie Carey.
That's for non.
That's for non. Okay. So we don't have E for related agenda items.
I'll make a motion that we move number 10, which is non-agenda items for citizen input up to now, so that we can get the non-agenda items out, and you don't have to stay all evening to get to your part if you want. So,
Okay, I've got a motion to move item 10 up. Do I have a second?
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Ramsey Lindsay.
Greg Sprinkle.
James Shem.
Cecilia Urban.
Motion passed, so we will go ahead and move number 10 up. Citizens input, 3 minutes, non-agenda related items. Debbie Carey.
Okay. My road, you know those lots that stay saturated with water and it drains off into our road? The last time y'all had a road expert come out, it did more damage to the road than ever before. My neighbor's ditch, they completely filled it in. They wanted the water to route this way. They took dirt from where they shoved her and filled her ditch, pushed it in front of mine, and then it doesn't go through, and it goes all the way across the road. Now there's big, huge potholes now. I took my car and drove it and made it a gully, but the gully is filled in. It makes no sense. So just thinking, you know, off the chart, why can't you take PVC pipe down to that lot, those lots at the end, run it down the road to that thing that your driveway's in. And then put gravel over the top of it and get rid of all the water that runs down our road, causing potholes.
You know, we can't go into it here, but I would ask you to continue your conversations with the city. I do know that your road is a
It's all,
top priority, so, let's continue this offline, but
it's not the only bad road, because
we know.
I was like, let me move. So I see a house and I drive down that road and I'm like, this road's just as bad as my road. And then there's houses that look like they need big bulldozers. And I'm like, no, this is out. I just go back home and
All right, we're gonna move on from there. No other input, no other. All right, moving on, number 6, consent agenda items. Council, you had a chance to review all the consent agenda items?
I got a couple of questions.
Okay.
Who is, Fund Accounting Solution Technologies? Is that our IT group or is that?
The person who can answer that was just talking to Debbie. This is a question for Mary.
Oh, okay, Mary. I didn't hear the question, sorry.
Who is Fund Accounting Solution Technology? Okay. I wasn't sure who that was. In the municipal court report, am I reading it right? It looked like there was a ton of failure to appear. Or is
Yes. So she was able to find a lot of the FCA's and process them last month. There does look through a lot.
That's all the question.
Or get some credit.
For the FCA's, do get some credit or bad debt, which is also the NBBA.
Any other questions, council?
I have some comments though. So the city administrators report, first report, it's good. And in that you ask, what we would like to see. We like to see big things. Or for example, like to see what kind of grants we can get, what we should go after, things like that. I mean, you were in the grant writing role and all that before, right? So yeah, we like to see those kinds of things. That's one. And attracting investments, are you talking to people? Trying to get some more money into this place, and more importantly, the services that we need. This is a small city. We don't have a whole lot. We need to attract some of these services that we need. We like to see what you're doing in that regard, and then infrastructure. Keep those things as priorities. We're not going to ask you about little minutiae of things, but keep that big picture. So we can see it. We can see that you're working on those kinds of things.
Thank you.
Anything else, council?
I do have a question about the budget, right? About the water and sewer one. I think we're at like 62% on spending and that. Is that correct? On the budget? Is that normal?
We're a little concerned about it. We're gonna check it again, I think around June. By then, our revenue should be catching up pretty well. We're already pulling back on the spending on the water and sewer side, but we'll be looking at that over the next couple of months in case July, August, September, we'll still have a quarter to make adjustments if we need to. Thank you.
Any other?
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion.
Entertainment. Make a motion to approve consent agenda items A through M.
Got a motion on the table? I got a second?
I didn't see the Keep West Tawakoni Beautiful.
No, I didn't.
That is not in there.
There was no in the package.
Okay, so the motion.
So
to
minus,
Approve everything except that?
yeah, everything except, item K, approval K.
Look at All-American Dogs.
It was in with the community development report.
Yes, because I can
Okay.
find it changed how I'm being done,
Yes.
so you're gonna get multiple. If we have some email for my code permits, I'm still doing one, so we just titled it community development. I broke it down differently, so you can kind of see different sets of stuff. And then All American Dogs will be tied into that also, and I'm just tying in our SDR.
Is it possible to put everything in one package, so we're not like,
I can, but I have gotten people saying there's so much for to follow, that's why I broke them down best possible. I can organize them however you guys want them. Just trying to go with the,
We could offer a single PDF option at the
combine them.
quarterback.
yeah, 'cause I was trying to figure out what all went through, what
Well,
I
like, in the Dropbox, it is labeled by the way it's labeled here.
Yeah.
So you should be able to try to follow it, if it's going to make you a full PDF.
Okay, I've got a motion to approve minus K. Did I get a second? I've got a second. All in favor?
Ramsey Lynch?
Greg Slinker.
James Shem.
Cecilia Urban.
Motion passed. We'll move on from there. Number 7, old business, discussion and or action to adopt a resolution establishing minimum reporting and documentation required for regular city council meeting packets. Ramsey Lindsay?
Yeah, so I don't think, at least, I'm not ready to go to a resolution yet, but I did want to talk about it. I didn't see a balance sheet this time, unless it was included in a different document. And I think that, to me, the balance sheet is critical. I've asked Chris this a couple of times and I keep forgetting, but FundView does not offer cash flow. Is that correct? That's okay. So, I can build a cash flow by comparing two balance sheets, and I can get to that. It would be a lot more convenient if, so we get a Dropbox link, and then for the next regular session, we get a different Dropbox link. And if we could get that in a structured folder on OneDrive, yeah, thank you. If we could get that in a structured folder, I could do that comparison a whole lot easier rather than going and having to search for old emails to find the link to go to that. Accounts payable and receivable, especially for, for the utility. And now that Shannon's bringing on that, the short-term rentals, we can see it. We can see that would help give us an idea of the quality of our receivables.
I'm sorry, can you clarify you're talking about the line item for the STR receivable?
No, not really a line item. I'd like to see what 30, 60, 90-day age.
They offer that and that.
I mean, the only thing that we're gonna have is 30, 60, 90 aging and utility billing. And that's gonna be things that are billed as of right now and like, so there's nothing as far as like true accounts receivable,
You could do a delinquent tax report.
which we get to get that from the county to do the taxes. So there anything that's like truly like, and I know we talked about receivables before, not how it's working.
Okay. Well, if we can get that working at some point, that'd be helpful. I would like to see it would probably be nice if we could get a budget variance explanation. Anything over, say we set some threshold, a dollar amount versus a percentage. And if we can know what we think the cause of that is, that would help. It would save us the time of having to go in and dig in and then come and ask y'all, and then you look and tell us. So if you could just, on those that jump out, tell us up front. And I'd like to look at those that are under as much as those that are over, so we can know if there's something that's holding up a project or things like that. And last but not least, and I touched on a second ago, is the delivery and the storage. If we can, the sooner we can move that away from those isolated Dropbox links and into a permanent OneDrive structure situation, that'd be better.
The OneDrive, you were saying?
OneDrive? Move to OneDrive from Dropbox.
And it would be linked to everybody's council emails.
That would be
That could
fine.
be done.
The challenge for me is the difficulty in when we budgeted last year versus this year. Just number one, I would love to see what we get in the 67-page PDF in a spreadsheet as opposed to in a PDF, because I can't move it around. I have to print it and kill 12 trees and then flip through it and find all of the last 4 digits that match so that I can go, okay, we're 276% of our phone budget. Well, did we do that terrible a job budgeting it, or are we not doing a good job with our phone usage or phone costs, right? So, but I can't go back and look at what the 2025 budget for phones was, how much we allotted in 2026, how much we adopted, and then how much we've actually spent. And that's where when Ramsey's saying that budget variance would come in and would give us those targets. And the same thing applies to the things that we're way under on, which is like GMRS and insurance. And I understand we make those payments at different times during the year, so that may spike. But maybe that would be easier explained than if we had to just look at it and go, I don't know why this is. Let me go ask Mary, because that's me asking you for something that's outside the purview of what you need to be doing that day. And so having a spreadsheet would make it much easier, especially if I can eliminate all the things that have zeros. Make it 30 pages instead of 67. Because we don't use those. We didn't use those numbers in the budget. So being able to eliminate everything that has a zero across the board all year would be really helpful in looking at it, because I would like for us to do a much better job in the upcoming budget season than we did last year, when we were kind of all green and new and really didn't know what we were doing. So we want to be able to give you the right amount of money, and then, make sure we're all spending the money the way we should. And if we need to do a budget amendment, let's be able to do
I'll respond briefly if that's all right.
Yep.
We did sit down, Ramsey, Mary, and I, and talk about a lot of these, and we're going to be working through some of this, and we'll take this input as well. I think we do want to work toward OneDrive. When we make that move, the reason Mary brought up that being tied to the council emails is because in order to access that OneDrive, you can't just click the link. You'll have to be sure that you're signed in on your council email Microsoft account. And we've had some council members with some difficulties accessing information already because of sign-in and login type issues. So we want to be really intentional about how we make that transition so that we make it as easy as possible for everyone. And then I think on the Excel versus PDF side, PDF is typically how we provide information that's going to be accessible to the public, because it's not as manipulatable, because we don't want it being changed out there, right? But for your purposes, I think we may be able to put something in a separate drive that you can work with. Okay.
So
Oh, I'm sorry. I did want to respond also briefly. We did check with Lee on, because we kept this on the agenda because she advised that maybe we need to look at the ordinance that talks about consent agenda, et cetera, et cetera. And she did provide some advice that we not mess with that ordinance. And so you can have that text. I'll let you read that. But what I'm going to suggest respectfully from the staff perspective is that we just continue this conversation and we can meet again like we did before and just kind of keep fine tuning it as we go.
Good. And that's what I was gonna say. I think this is really a process more of evolution rather than designing or trying to design something while we're sitting here.
Correct. Yes. Agreed.
Okay, so we just gonna move on with no action on this one?
Yeah, I don't think there's any action for us to take.
Council, no other discussion? We'll move on then. Under old business B, discussion under action on ordinance number 339.4.14.2026. An ordinance of the city of West Tawakoni, Texas, and amending city of West Tawakoni Code of Ordinances, chapter 3, building regulations, section 8, signs, establishing regulations and prohibiting billboards, changeable, electronical, verbal messages, signs, and other off-premise signs within the city limits and the ETJ of the city, establishing a fine of no more than $500 for a violation therefore, and providing for the following finding of facts amendment. Repeals. We're going from there. Effective date and property note and meetings, notice meetings, sorry.
Do we have a full one printed out somewhere?
We can get one. This is on the agenda because we had to post this agenda before last week's meeting. And knowing that there may be some discussion in last week's meeting, we wanted to have it on this agenda in case we needed it. This ordinance has been passed by council.
Yep.
But I can get you a clean copy of what we
I
passed.
like that.
You got it?
So again, it's already been passed, so there's no need for, any action, discussion as you'd like to get a copy of it, so we can move on from there.
Can we put it back on the next agenda? For discussion.
We can. I'm going to ask that maybe you and I have a conversation about that first. Thanks.
And then just let them know if we need to put it back.
Right on.
Okay, we'll move on from there. 8, new business, discussion and or action to approve replat for property ID number 75398 located at Highway 276, West Tawakoni, Texas. Legal description A0533 Hodges John T. Tract 9-1, acreage 1, zone commercial C, owned by Cannon LLC. You don't want to hear anything from him again?
Yeah.
Planning and zoning moved to recommend.
If you have a recommendation from planning and zoning, you have the maps there. Are there any discussions?
Is that the one that came in and talked to us about a few minutes ago?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So basically, you weren't here. So basically, he's got a huge property that's on the other side of Circle K, on the other side of Quill Run, last one in our city limits. And he wants to split it long ways, like parallel with the highway, so he can use the back for his business, make the front probably retail.
I make the motion. Then what? The motion?
You ready to make a motion?
I make a motion to approve the replat of the property ID 75398.
I've got a motion on the table for approval.
Second that.
Who was it?
Second, all right.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Let's go.
Andrew Lindsay, Greg Sprinkle.
James Shep.
Celia Urban?
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay, moving on from there. B, discussion and or action on city council or city administrator goals and evaluation criteria. Chris.
Okay, so as you're probably all aware, the contract that we entered into calls for council to evaluate the city administrator at roughly the 6-month mark and at the year mark. I did not presume that council has already developed a plan for that evaluation. And so I wanted to start a discussion on it. We don't have to have action tonight, but what I've provided to you for your discussion and reference is a list of the duties of the city administrator that are enumerated within the contract, and then a description of the evaluation process that's in the contract, which is basically that it'll take place at 6 months and in a year based on criteria that we developed together, and that will be in a confidential setting. And then the last thing I've provided is just a really kind of rough, vague, general suggestion of how we might approach the evaluation process. So I'm basically just putting this in front of council, asking you all to have some discussion and consideration so that we can set what the criteria are and some goals at least a few months before we get to the 6 month mark, which is September-ish. That's all I've got.
Any discussion, council?
I'd like to read through this, you know.
You can always respond back via email and.
Yeah, email.
For sure. And then we're still working towards scheduling a strategic planning workshop. In that workshop, I'd like for us to develop goals as a city. We'll call them council goals. And then if you want to make that part of the evaluation for me, you know, how I'm performing in support of the council goals, we can do that as well.
Very nice. No other discussion, no action needed. Move on. C, discussion and or action to make an ordinance to have new buildings use natural gas for heating. When it's available, James.
So the city, we are limited in our growth. We just don't have, every city has, you know, natural gas. You know, that's important for restaurants and homes. It's cheaper to heat homes with natural gas if we had it. Restaurants, you know, it's much easier to have natural gas ovens and things like that. We don't have it. We have been trying. We have been talking to this Atmos Energy many times. You know, last time you actually set up a meeting at your fire department building. We had Atmos Energy come in. We had EDC make a presentation. We had the Hunt County Commissioner there. We just had a lot of discussion. So I think everybody understands that we have to have gas, but they say it's $3 to $5 million, $5 to $7 million to bring gas from the city gate of Quinlan to here. Then during the discussion, we asked, you know, how can we make this happen? There's going to be developments, there's going to be a lot of these things, but it's not going to happen all at once. I said, we had 500 homes. They said, we have 500 homes being developed. You know, they could make a case for it. There's never going to be a time we'll have 500 homes develop at the same time. It's not going to happen. You know, there will be 30, there will be 50, there will be 5. So we're trying to make an ordinance that states that if we had gas in the city, then the developers are required to use gas. If you don't have gas, they don't have to do anything.
You can't require that. It's against the law.
What is it?
It's against one of the Texas laws. Can't require that. You can't
Don't talk a
require.
little louder.
You can't require them to force them to have gas. You can't pass an ordinance for it either.
We can't. I'm not sure.
So let's get that in front of you.
Well, actually, let's do this. We don't say require it, but we have this option. So the homeowners would like to have gas because it's cheaper, significantly cheaper to heat it. I think the economics itself will direct them to use gas. At the very least, we say we can just say that they should consider using gas. Maybe we word it that way. And then once we have that kind of an ordinance, we take it to Atmos and say, hey, look at this. We project so much development in this place, homes and other kinds of things. So maybe you make a case to your decision makers and say, hey, this city is proactive. We are, doing everything we can. Let's reconsider this, see if we can do something. We just want to have that discussion. Right now, it's at a stalemate. There's no real, it's not going to go anywhere. But we have to, if we have gas, this city will develop so much faster, better for everybody, None of us are going to switch to gas, it's extremely expensive. But if it's a new home, they will always go for gas. It's much cheaper.
Well, it's cheaper for the homeowner, it's not cheaper for the builder. And I think that's where
It's not cheaper for who?
it's cheaper for the homeowner.
Yeah.
It's not cheaper for the builder.
It is not
So,
cheaper for
right,
them. Right. Yeah.
So the builder is gonna spend an extra $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 plumbing a house for gas if we require it, which is gonna drive the price of the house up. I'm not against what you're saying. I'm not sure how we can make them do that, but it's gonna be difficult to, if we give them the choice to plumb the house for gas, and they have the choice to say, I'll plumb the house for gas or I won't plumb the house for gas, they're gonna not plumb the house for gas just because of the cost difference, right? So I don't know what we can, I can't argue with Chad one way or the other on whether or not it's legal to do it, but my concern is that, and it's not really a concern, it's how do we incentivize that we get the houses plumbed for gas? You know what I mean? Maybe we look at it rather than it's a made to, it's a I want to, right?
Maybe we say that give the option to the consumer or the customer. Provide the options. Gas versus electric.
But if there's a higher cost to the builder, they're gonna take the lower cost. Always. Would you agree with that?
No,
No.
unless.
No, you don't agree with that?
No.
Because when
Okay.
I built my house, I have a propane tank, but I built it where you could have either propane or electric on the stove.
But what about gas? Because I know that they take different.
Well, I know that's different, but me personally, I like gas better when I'm cooking.
Oh, absolutely.
So
There's
I
no
would-
question.
If I could afford it, I would take it.
I would too. I don't disagree. I would love to see every new house have that. I'm not sure how we force or incentivize people to do that.
I don't think you're gonna have a better luck incentivizing business
Yeah.
versus residential
Yeah.
builders. The businesses are the ones that's gonna pretty much need it.
Do we even have to incentivize that? If there's gas, I mean, I've lived in so many cities, every place, it's all gas.
Yeah, but I think the question is, how do we get Atmos to put the gas here? And the only way we do that is to have 500 homes. They've said, if you had 500 homes coming in that were going to be customers, then they would be more inclined to put the gas here. So we got to put the burden on the builder.
Free, wasn't it?
I think it's like 3,000 rooftops before they would start considering, it was like $4.4 million of the cost of the city. So they would not even entertain it at the moment. And even if we had an ordinance, I mean, what I don't understand is what good does it do to create an ordinance that allows you to choose between utilities that you already have a choice of? Like, you already have that choice. Why would we need an ordinance to give them that choice? I don't think that we can make them choose a utility when we're not humble. So
No,
we have less capability than normal cities, and I'm not even sure a home rule can force someone to use a specific utility if they have others available. So I have a lot of concerns about that. The one way they did say that we could incentivize them to bring it would be if we had 3,000 or more rooftops, residential rooftops, which we don't have yet, or if it started filling in between us and Quinlan in the county area, then it would come closer to us, which would decrease the cost that we would have to put up to get it.
But I'm not fixated on, ordinance. I'm just saying we got to do, what can we do?
We need more rooftops, or we need people to fill in between
Once the
us and
rooftops are
Quinlan.
there, nobody's going to switch. It's extremely expensive. Nobody's going to switch.
Well,
Very expensive.
it sounds to me like businesses are the ones that are gonna really benefit from it. So would Atlas entertain if these businesses are coming in that we need it?
Restaurants.
Yeah.
Restaurants
So-
are the big thing, yeah.
This is something that I think that the EDC could possibly try to work with potential new businesses coming to try to figure out some incentives or options to get back to the Atmos to try to entice them to move up their plan or whatever that case may be. I don't think the residential side is gonna be a big effect on it.
What, they want 3 million?
I think it was around 4.4 or something like that. It was
Yeah.
a lot.
It was a lot.
It was untouchable.
So, I don't have anything else, but at least
Chris,
start thinking of everybody.
Are there any grants for gas?
Um,
I wanted to do that.
I can't say it with absolute certainty that there's not, but I've never heard of such a thing. I will say that the grants dealing with different energy sources that actually, yes, actually there are grants for natural gas for vehicles, and so that's a different story. You could have a stretch and say, well, we funded a natural gas filling station with grant money.
But that would get it here.
So y'all agree?
Yeah, long pipe.
I'm envisioning that application and the cost benefit would be upside down.
Sure.
Because getting the line out here would not benefit, and we don't have the light vehicle users that we would convert. It's a whole different model. It's not really a model made for a basically rural community. We did consult with the attorney, even though she wasn't able to be here, and her input was that she was not a fan of the idea because basically you're suggesting that you're taking a choice away from the consumer. The wording is that we have is that we would require it. And so she's not a fan of that. She did say that if we wanted to revisit this once natural gas became an option, then that's something we might want to do, in terms of expressing a preference or an incentive or something like that. But it's kind of a catch-22.
Yeah, no, I
You want
understand.
something that market forces can create, but we can't, by ordinance, create those forces.
Yeah, ordinance may not be the right
Mhm.
solution, but if there is anything, any ideas,
I think the EDC is a great avenue to work with
EDC, we just work with them
restaurants
there.
and have maybe start a line of communication with the gas utility and restaurants to see, if they can eventually meet in the middle of that.
Okay, that's all I have.
We're gonna move on with no action on that one then.
Yes, sir.
Let's see, D, discussion and or action to approve adoption of SRA drainage easement to accommodate Tawakoni Plaza development. Shannon?
So what we have here is the huge development across the street from us. We have civil approval for the gas station. We have civil approvals for the restaurant, for both the multifamilies and for the hotel. That is dependent on the city adopting the easement. We have a situation where we're not gonna have the adoption paperwork from SRA before the end of the month. And if we don't get civil permits issued, we're going to lose the development because they lose their funding at the end of the month, and they're not gonna start over if they're gonna walk.
Yes,
So I
SRA is already.
basically need the ability to issue the civils with us knowing that we intend to adopt the easement.
What does that mean exactly? What do we have to do?
Basically waiting on the SRA to
So we're waiting
finalize
on
it.
the document.
They've
that
already
gives
said
us-
yes, but it's moving through their
We
chain.
need to- Yeah, we need to have
We just-
some action to agree once the agreement is active.
Agree to adopt what
So
is.
that or authorize the director of development to issue the permits once it's ready.
So school me on what does adopt the easement mean?
So they're
Does that mean we
giving.
mow it? Does that mean we?
We will be.
I'm just asking, because I have no clue.
So
You
the
know, I gotta-
development, it will
raise it.
be, the development will be the ones that have to develop it. So the property owners are the ones that are gonna build this easement. They're gonna put the big ditch in on the back side of the development between it and the golf course, where the water goes.
Okay.
It'll flow to the lake. The city will maintain it from there out. It will be the city's easement.
So what is it?
But what did we do? We went with concrete, right?
I believe so, yes.
Where there would be low maintenance.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I just want to make sure I understand what adopting.
That means it becomes ours.
It's an
It's
easement.
ours.
So it's like a
It's ours.
We own the first 10 feet of we own the first 10, 20 feet of the grass
Yes.
from 276 back to the development.
So this will be behind the development, between it and the
Between
golf
the golf,
course.
What we need to
okay.
do, take a trash out of it sometime.
Yeah, we'll maintain it.
Mow it if it needs mowed. There's a possibility that we could end up contracting with the development where they maintain it. But the city would officially be the ones adopting it. So if we did a contract in the future, it would be between the city and the development. This particular piece of it will be between SRA and the city. And it's to keep the drainage. What it does, this drainage ditch is designed to keep the front property from flooding, from dumping more water on the golf course. We don't want it to all go into TxDOT ditch, and this will divert so it splits and doesn't flood out any other properties. It'll come down, it'll go along the backside of the trees for the city property, the culvert that goes under the road already in the park, and it will dump out into the lake. And it's all natural water, rainwater.
I'll make a motion that we approve the adoption of SRA grant easement to accommodate Tawakoni Plaza developments.
I have
We have
a
a
question, I have a question first. JD, since you're over the public works, how do you feel about this new adoption easement? What do you feel like it's gonna do to you?
That's not gonna affect us any. We can have
We got a motion
Second.
and a second.
That Joey?
Ramsey Lindsay.
Greg Sprinkle.
I'll stay.
You want to abstain? Okay,
Cecilia Irvin.
motion passed.
That he's gonna do it with weed eater.
Every bit of it.
Chris,
You know, he did have a good question the other day is, why don't we mow the properties we have anyway? And after he asked me, I was like, no, I've never mowed them. I don't even know what properties we own.
I have a list of.
We
them.
haven't- we haven't-
Oh, I'll be looking
It's in the
at that.
council.
Oh, we thought you were done.
Okay, we'll move on from there. Number 9, legacy project progress.
Before we start, can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
As you guys are going through this, can you let me know which ones you want to remove or remove from the agenda? As things that you've marked off or completed, or they're gonna be more long-term, something that we don't have to see at every single.
So A would be discussion and possible action on updates from council place 1.
You can remove the 276 lighting off the line.
Okay.
And probably,
What?
I don't have any updates on that one yet.
Okay, so no, so thankfully we are removing the specific lighting.
Yeah.
Are we
The
keeping?
speed limit? Is that what you said?
No, the lighting.
Oh,
We need the lighting.
I
Oh,
haven't
yeah,
looked
yeah,
at
yeah.
anything.
yeah,
We did
I'll
the
do that.
TxDOT study for the, red light.
Red light. We sent them the email requesting them to do
To
a
the
study.
study, okay.
Yeah.
So is that something we wanna keep on the speed limit change, and I think that was supposed to be also the red light.
The red light, you're talking about moving the red light thing?
Um,
Well, I was saying, do we wanna make that more of a long-term goal to look at, or is that something you want to give updates on every week?
we can make it a long time ago.
Chad, I did reach out to this guy, it's gone up the chain of DOT.
Yeah.
Keep it for a little longer.
Okay.
Let's say yes or no from them.
And then the arrowhead, we're still waiting. Good.
Post office?
That's not gonna happen. So we'll leave that on as the zip
Do you
code.
wanna change it to the zip code?
Yeah, change it to zip code.
Okay.
Can I make a comment about the zip code thing? I've done a little research this week and I haven't had time to speak with you. So what I found out on the zip code is it seems to me that 2% of the zip code, everything goes to Quinlan initially, from what I have found. 2% of the zip code gets the sales tax that comes in from that goes to, they split it between everybody that's under Quinlan's jurisdiction, basically. So if we got our own zip code, we would only get monies from what we raise sales tax from here. So I'm not sure that's a really good option to try to get a new zip code.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying 2%, and 2% of all of 75474 comes to all the other jurisdictions.
That's my understanding at this
I
point.
just had to make sure I
That's a
was.
really interesting point.
That's
I'd
it.
love
Can
I'd
we
love to see
validate
that
that?
map.
Yeah, because that would mean we're getting stuff off of Walmart
Uh-huh.
and Dixie.
We don't get very much
So we get 2% of all of that.
Well, no, we don't get 2% of it. The 2% gets split between all of us that's under that jurisdiction.
So that's a small amount, isn't it?
Well, I trust that
That may be
Quinlan
all-
makes
that
way
may
more
be all
money
of
than
it.
we do.
I think you may be meaning the 2 cents.
Yes, what did I
It's
say?
2% of the sales, not 2% of the sales tax,
Okay,
because the 2 cents is local versus the 6.25 for the state.
okay, yes. And also on the zip code, I've also found this interesting fact that, you know, how sometimes they try to add 4 digits after your normal zip code portion. I've learned that that helps clarify that it's coming from West Tawakoni for one thing. And the other thing is it helps you get your mail faster or your delivery faster if you use that 4-digit number. And you can look it up online. You know, everybody, or it's going to be a little bit different even within Tawakoni. So if you look that up, A, you get your mail or your delivery faster, and B, it points out that it's West Tawakoni. I'm also in the works of putting together a spreadsheet that shows the businesses that have sales tax numbers. And so I'm even putting on that list the ones that are inactive, but I'm gonna make sure that everybody we've got listed on our site that shows as a business is going to be showing up on that list that they have online.
So do we get 100% of the sales tax from a West Tawakoni business?
No.
We basically, all West Tawakoni, Quinlan, everybody that's in 75474, all of the sales tax goes into one pool. And then we get,
They split it between all the entities equally.
You're saying we get as much sales tax as City of Quinlan gets?
No.
They're like 900,000.
Yeah.
We're like.
What are the entities? Just two, right?
no, it's probably
There's
cash and all the 75474 zip code coverage is a lot of small towns. I would like to hear more about the way that it's pooled and split.
yeah.
If I could see it on a graph or see it on a piece of paper or something that would help me visualize it better.
Yeah, and I'm gonna reach out to the state comptroller's
Mhm.
office and
Yeah.
try to get that information so that we can present it.
That would be great. Yeah. That would be awesome.
There used to be a way, we talked about this, because I actually dealt with this. This is one thing I've dealt with a couple of decades ago. The comptroller would actually give us a list of the businesses in the zip code, and we could go through and ensure that the ones that are actually within our city limits were getting credited the right way. I don't know if they still offer that, but we can certainly find out.
I did get some third-party processors that they gave me, that they,
I remember reading that.
yeah.
It's the third party process, the ones that don't report very far.
The ones that do online, where you go online to order something, it says Quinlan, we can contact them and try to update.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah,
I
because,
got those numbers somewhere to find it.
you know, I mean, on my street alone, like every kind of FedEx truck and everybody else comes through on a daily basis, and that has sales tax attached to it.
Yep.
So if people order things and it says Quinlan, then Quinlan gets it and we don't get it, you know? But the other good thing that I wanted to make sure, by using that 4-digit number after your zip code, it tells them that you're in West Tawakoni and not Quinlan. So maybe there won't be so much confusion if there's the same addresses matching into two towns. They'll give you better information for them to make sure they deliver it to the right place.
I just use West Tawakoni, when you put the
Unless it default, sometimes it'll default you back to
That's
Quinlan.
right.
few places, yeah, we can change it.
Basically.
But get that
I'll
list
try to
anyway,
see.
get that list for this controller.
Yeah, I'm gonna push for that. I'm gonna try to get that. But if I can't get through to him, I think our city administrator might have some better luck.
Yep. We'll work on it.
Okay.
Good job. Anything else? Okay,
That's it.
okay, we'll move on to B, discussion and possible actions on updates from council place 2.
So anything on Maze Lane is gonna be long-term. I think we keep the radio read meters on the list. I don't have an update on that. I won't until we get through, audits and grant application.
I'll speak briefly to that timeline. We're still cautiously optimistic about the audit, but in my conversations with Jacob and Martin, if we're not able to assure them that the audits will be complete, say in June, then they won't be able to get started on, shovel-ready application, all that stuff for the grant application. So we're coming down to it with our auditor, and that'll be kind of a, game time decision based on when that's complete and when they can get started.
Staff insurance, that will come back when we do budget. So there's really nothing to update there.
We want to keep that on there? We want to keep that line item on there, or?
Address the budget time.
Yeah, just address it. And short-term rental collection, I think as that evolves, let's keep that on. I don't have an update on it, but hopefully Shannon does.
We'll leave it on. Okay.
Anything else?
No.
We'll move on to C, discussion and possible action on updates from council place 3.
That would be me. Audit progress, clearly we've already beat that dead horse. So we can move that to long term. I don't need to bring it up every time. And then the new elementary school, I actually want to leave that on here from Saturday. I met with Lamonte Williams, which is the guy that's running the new developing leaders within foundation. He was at the Catfish Festival, and I met with him and talked to him about the new Texas program with school vouchers and how that might be able to help him move faster. So it looks like we're going to have some discussions about. I don't think we'll see a new elementary school here from Quinlan in the next 3 to 5 years, but I think we may see maybe a charter school for K through 6. So I want to continue to leave that on there and continue to work. Park upgrades, they're going phenomenally well. We have sold tables. We're working on the 32 tables, 32 picnic tables that we need, and hopefully some park benches in there as well. And the park fan club is already banging on the walls, wanting to do redo the entrance and make it much prettier. And we talked about working with Keep West Walking Beautiful to make that happen. It's really kind of in their wheelhouse, not in ours. So we're going to try to work with them to make the entrance look a lot better. So that's all of mine.
Moving on from there, discussion and possible action on updates from council place 4.
Connection of Highway 276 to Rabbit Cove, just remove it. It's a long-term project. Street lights, we have a proposal from FEC. We have to find some money to pay for it.
And you're working with,
And we talked about it in the last meeting, so that we have to come up with some money. Administrator. It's like $450 a month or something.
He makes it sound like nothing. It's a good value.
So we'll come up with something, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
I mean, we get that on the late May agenda.
And the city hall growth opportunities, keep it in there. So next step in this is for EDC, we swap lands between EDC and city. So we have the land that we work on getting some bids, and we will continue to work on it. That's it.
Alright, E, discussion and possible action on updates from council place 5.
Okay, community outreach. So I was noticing today I haven't seen a newsletter for May.
You are correct.
And I want to make sure that that gets on the button when the next one does happen. And then met with Chris Kidwell yesterday, and we kind of came up with a list that we would like to direct the group that's working on it with the city to include now, because there's not really a set ordinance for that newsletter. And so we're thinking like all the government entities, which would include like SRA or Hunt County or state and federal, there's things going on that need to be out there for the news. We could put those on there. EDC, like some of these we could do links. And if you need me to send you like a list or an email, I can do that. But like EDC, like Tawakoni Chamber of Commerce, because they always have a lot going on that affects our group too, our area. West Tawakoni Library has a lot going on. The fire department, volunteer fire department has things going on. Quinlan ISD and Bowles schools are connected because of our kids being picked up. The West Tawakoni City Park, when things are going on out there, we've kind of started already doing that, but we can include that. So, oh, and then, keep West Walking beautiful. So any of those that could have a link to them, we could just add a link where they could go to their site, to see what's on their list. for
Oh, I
their-
understand, yeah.
their, add that to the newsletter. But anyway, I'll send you a list on.
Yes.
That's all I had.
Is there anything you want to add to your list of projects?
Well, I'm kind of helping Chad on a few things right now, so I'll just leave it with that. If y'all have anything y'all think of, let me know, and I'll be glad to help.
Yeah, that's, the thing about this is the design, so everybody can work together. So she's got free time and I need some help tracking something or whatever.
Cell phone towers,
Cell phone.
cell phone towers.
Outreach.
It is. I mean,
Cell phone tower.
I just, the cell reception in this town's horrible. And
You're not wrong.
we need to fix that. And we have 2 water towers. We have lots of open land. We have lots of places where cell towers would work. My research that I did on it, just trying to figure out whether or not it was worthwhile to go and look for, was that you don't reach out to Verizon or AT&T or the cell providers. You reach out to the cell tower builders or owners, and they sell their space. It's their job to sell it to Verizon and AT&T and Sprint and whoever those, well, T-Mobile. It's their job to sell it to them, and it's their job to pick the right place where they can get that space sold, right? And I don't remember, Mary, did we talk about this the other day? No, was it this morning?
It was this morning.
Okay. I thought since then, yeah, I thought since
So
then,
our zoning ordinance actually
covers not being able to do it, or,
it covers where they can put them. But I will tell you that I just went through this with a provider who was trying to find a place to put a cell tower in our city.
okay,
That is few to none, because you can only have it within so much area of residential. And they can only be so close to each other. So a lot of our city backs up to residential. And by the time you take the buildings that are on the property, then you take the residential districts behind the commercial buildings, you don't have the distance on most of the property.
How much distance are you talking about?
I don't remember off the top of my
so it'd be
head.
really interesting to find out, so next to none and none are 2 different things, right? So if there was a place that was, acceptable, because at some point, they're not gonna have horrible cell phone coverage forever, right? I mean, there are cell phone towers in Dallas.
Yeah.
That are within a shorter distance. Is our ordinance the problem? Or is the requirement of the cell tower builder the problem?
Probably the ordinance.
Ordinances were made to be changed.
It also requires specific use permits, so everyone would have to agree to, or not every, majority would have to agree, would give them the specific use permit, something that would go through planning and zoning and then council. Roughly, I want to say right now it's 500 foot residential.
That's not terrible. I don't think that's unattainable.
How much space will this take up?
It can't be within so many feet.
I mean, I don't think that's unattainable. If the ordinance is the problem, then that's something we can work on.
And it's the
Right.
same as our old one. We kept that portion of the ordinance. So the old zoning for it, that one we transferred into the new zoning.
I just think that would be a really advantageous thing for us to bring to the city, just not only for the residents that live here and struggle with cell service, but as the internet becomes more, consumed and everything else, and you have more and more people that are consuming what signal is there, the bandwidth, all of those things are gonna strain on on residents, and I also think that there's a revenue opportunity there.
I think, I recall correctly, the other issue they were having was some of the properties they were looking at, they were not gonna get enough signal. They would have to build so high that their base couldn't be wide enough to go.
Right,
high if they
right.
needed. Cause I know like they were looking at, I wanna say either American Legion or VFW on the backside, well, then you had Wichita Bay, which was a huge problem. Cause it would be almost on top of it by the time they hit the distance, the back of that property. Rabbit Cove, our water towers, we looked at that, they couldn't get them high enough, they'd still have to go, they need to be 200 feet in the air, I think.
The taller water.
Let's get this on an agenda item in order to keep discussing.
And I work with you on that. I think this is something that would be really beneficial to the city.
It's really important. It's really important, man. You just don't have good cell coverage.
Just absolute, just safety on the lake.
It's, under this 3 or 5 or.
Put it on Cecilia's.
Right.
I have trouble with internet on my tablet. I don't think you want
I
to try
trust
to.
that. That's the other I trust.
No. I mean,
I'll walk you through it.
oh my God.
All right,
The one.
Well, hey, well, I'll put those on.
That'd be
There
fine.
you go.
A and B.
Co-sponsor.
all right, is that on yours?
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on. We've already handled number 10, so we'll move on to number 11.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
You got a motion?
Second.
That's go.
Ramsey Lynch.
Greg Swank.
Yes, yeah.
It's really early.
Motion passed, we adjourn to 8:02.